welcome along to the second practice along with Dan video. Today I am doing a practice along with Dan on tenor saxophone. All you need is your tenor saxophone. You could use your alto if you wanted to, you just have to transpose with me as we went along, but the tenor will work obviously better. There is an alto one up here, so please do check it out. And if you're new here, please do hit the subscribe button, because what I'm hoping to do is to do a series of these as YouTube live videos and Facebook. There is a way I can multi-stream to YouTube, Facebook and Instagram, I think, as well. So I'm going to do some live videos seeing how the reception goes for these first of all. So today we're going to be doing tenor. All you need is your tenor saxophone. It might be helpful if you get my ebook, Make Your Sax Sing, simply because this first exercise, Pivot Long Tones 1, is on there. But if you don't want to buy the ebook, all I'm doing is starting at top G and coming down in semitones. The first note is 4 beats long, the second note is 7, and the second note decreases each time by a semitone, and there's 1 beat rest. Now, because of the way my camera is while I'm doing a pre-prepared video, there will be a couple of little gaps in it because I can't do a 30-minute long video with this camera. It only does it in 12-minute chunks. So if you see a little bit of jumpiness, it's not creative editing because I got it all wrong. It's simply because I needed to sort the video out. So I'm going to get myself set up. We're going to put the metronome at 50 and we're going to do this Pivot Long Tones 1. Now, just before I start, make sure you stood up, both feet nice and firmly apart, your back straight, and make sure that, you know, see if you're there, that's a little bit low because it's dropping onto my lower lip. I want to just make the strap a bit higher so that the saxophone's directly dropping into my mouth. And I'm going to start on a G. so there we go, we've done our long tones. Long tones are really, really important, not only for developing your tone, but I find that if I do a practice session when I don't start with long tones, my head wanders off. All the other clutter and stuff that comes into my head about work, emails, everything else like that tends to distract me from what I need to do in my practice. So starting with long tones is not only good for your tone development, it's good for your mental brain for what you're doing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to practice our harmonic minor scales. So I'm going to start on C sharp minor, which is, if you're about grade 4, grade 5, is where you should be aiming for. Now you can either think of C sharp minor within its key signature of 4 sharps. It's not E major. It shares the same key signature of E major, but it is not E major. Make sure that's right. So you've got 4 sharps and you sharpen the 7th note. So the B becomes B sharp, or you could think of it as C sharp major, flatten the 3rd, flatten the 6th. I think for most of you, thinking it within the key signature of C sharp minor is going to be far easier to deal with at this point. But there may be some other scales where it's easy to think of the major scale and then change it. So we're going to think of C sharp harmonic minor, playing in quarter notes, crotchets, 1 beat per note, okay? Thinking of that low C sharp, my tenor needs a service, it's leaking like hell, and it's kind of like, it's like a colander today, okay? 1, 2, I'm slurring them because you do need to tongue them at some points, but actually, I play a lot of jazz, and if you're going to play a lot of jazz, you need to slur more than you tongue. The tongue is a very difficult thing to control when it comes to jazz, but also the tongue can sometimes act as a break, and actually what I want to be doing in this is time. It's moving my fingers in time. There is a place for tonguing, but not right now. So now I'm going to go to quavers, 8th notes, keeping the metronome at 60, and now I'm going to play 1 and 2 and 3, and remember I said this in the alto one, you've got to count in. You're not wasting 4 seconds of your life by counting in. It's really important to set that speed in your head. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. Now you notice that I did that one in one breath, okay, up and down, and you should be able to do it. Now, same one in triplets, quaver triplets, 8th note triplets. So we're thinking Ned Flanders, 2, diddly diddly, 1, 2, Okay, so that's C sharp minor. We could do it semi-quavers, 16th notes, but not, because my battery's running low and I need to change the battery. Battery's back in. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go from C sharp minor to F sharp minor. Now I'm going to do it again as it would be grade 4, grade 5 in the UK, the ABRSM syllabus. We're going to go for 12th, okay? So 2 in crotchets first of all. So 1, 2, 3. These 12s, sorry, when you do the arpeggio, you should play the top note twice, but on the scale you don't. Now, these harmonic minors are so useful, especially in jazz, later on. So make sure you really pay attention to these. They're not a useless scale, they're a very important scale. So now same thing in quavers, 8th note. So we're thinking 1, 2, and 3, and Okay, quaver triplets, thinking diddly diddly diddly, we'll leave the 16th notes to the next one. So that's F sharp minor, okay? So now we're going to go down to B minor, and we're going to start making use of these little rollers. You might wonder what they're there for. Now, when you're playing B to C sharp, you've got to roll that little finger, but notice how it's more in my wrist than moving the finger. If you take the finger off, you'll end up playing a C natural. So what you've got to do when you're slurring it is to move that finger across, okay? Okay, this is leaking like hell. Okay, you can just tell when you get to the low notes, if things are wanting to squeak and it's all moving off, your saxophone needs a service. It's difficult to get it done during the time of a pandemic, but I am definitely going to be calling my repairer after I've done this video for you. This thing needs looking at. Okay, now into 8th notes, okay? So 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, B minor harmonic. There you go, okay? Now let's try that quaver triplet. So we're thinking, and diddly diddly 3, Okay, now we're going into 16th notes, okay? So we're thinking, and that come round to 4, Piccadilly, 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 Piccadilly. Ready? 1, 2, 3, It's sometimes a good idea when you bring in the A sharp B flat in to experiment when you're playing it, either between using the bis key, the side key, probably not what we call front B flat, you know, kind of playing like flute idea, 1 in 1. I would suggest you alternate between bis key and the side key, and eventually you want to deliberately change when you're doing your scale practice, but you will find, and I find, my fingers seem to adapt to what is the most appropriate at that given situation, and that's what you're aiming to get, that idea that your fingers can control it. So, next up we're going to do E harmonic minor. E harmonic minor shares its key signature with G major, so it's got 1 sharp, okay, and we sharpen the 7th note, which is the D sharp. Here we go. So 1, crotchets, 2, 3, Good, 8th note quavers now. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. Now in triplets. Diddly diddly did. Getting to that D sharp's a bit tricky, isn't it? Now semi-quavers. 2, Piccadilly. So let's wait, come round. Piccadilly, Piccadilly. How weird is that? Easy in semi-quavers. Triplets were throwing me. Okay, so that's E, and then we do A, D, G. So let's just move round. I'm not going to do the other ones for the sake of time because time is marching on. Let's go straight round to G harmonic minor, okay? So G harmonic minor, and we're going to play the 2 flat. Now this is where you can change it around a little bit. So you can think of G major, okay? Flatten the third, the B becomes B flat. Flatten the sixth, the E becomes E flat. So you end up with B flat, E flat, and you keep the F sharp from the G major scale. Or you could think of it within the context of G minor, having two flats, B flat and E flat, and sharpen the seventh. It's entirely up to you how you arrive at it, okay? So let's do it in crotchets, okay? Well, quarter notes. 1, 2, now in quavers, so we're thinking, and 1, and 2, and 3. Now in triplets, Ned Flanders time. Diddly, diddly, diddly. And finally into semiquavers, 16th notes, thinking, and Piccadilly, Piccadilly. Done. Okay, now you should at different levels be able to go all the way around, but for now that will do. Now what we're going to look at is the dominant bebop scale. The dominant bebop scale is the major scale with an added flattened seventh. We're going to do all this in quavers, eighth notes, okay? Now what I'm going to try and get you to do is we're going to play 1 octave descending of each one, but around the circle of fifths. So we're going to play 3, 1 and 2, that's C, F. B flat coming up. Okay, so let's try that together, okay? Going back to C. So you've got C major with an added flattened seventh. If this is a bit hard, just listen and maybe come back to it next time. So 1, 2, C. B flat. E flat. A flat. D flat. F sharp. B. E. A. G. G. C. Okay, now that's a precursor to something I really want to do on the live ones, which is this exercise that Eric Alexander gave me. See if I can get it right. Ah, no I can't. Let's try again. Just be able to nail that. Pandemic problems. Pandemic problems. That's going to be a new little phrase, that pandemic problems. So that's the bebop scale. Now what I'd like to look at is something that Chris Potter gave me, which is digital patterns. You can find this exercise in the Nail Your Scales ebook. And this is taking a 4-note digital pattern and transposing it into different keys. So a circle of fifths might be helpful for you here. So we're going to take the phrase 8, 4, 5, 3. Okay. Now ideally you want to do this on a metronome. We're just going to do it in eighth note crotchets today. Sorry, quarter note crotchets. Getting confused between the two bits of language there. Just in quarter notes. And we're going to go around the circle and then I'm going to show you some different ideas on it. So 8, 4, 5, 3 in C. So 1, 2, hey, Now if you're not sure what 8, 4, 5, 3 is in C, thinking down, what are you talking about? 8 is C. 4 is F, 5 is G, 3 is E. C, F, G, E. Let's try that again. C, F, G, E. 3. Okay, then I go to F, F, B flat, C, A. B flat, 2, E flat, 2, A flat, 2, D flat, F sharp, how are you doing so far? On to B now. Thinking about where the fourth is, which is the critical one. B, E this time, 3, Okay, you get the idea. I got a little bit lost on the B flat because I was thinking about what to say to you guys next. So apologies for not telling you I was going off. I just thought, let's just see where we go. So that's moving it round in fourths. Let's move it now in intervals of tritones. Okay, so that's the opposite sides of the circle of fifths. So we're going to play C, F sharp, C. So it sounds like this. That sounds quite a cool line, that, doesn't it? Like 8, 4, 5, 3 on C, F sharp, C, F sharp. It's, it covers almost the whole section of the saxophone. It's a really, really great line. You could also take it down in intervals of minor thirds. You kind of get a diminished feel to it. This is going a bit more advanced. So 8, 4, 5, 3 on C, on A, on F sharp, on minor third, was it? E flat, and then C. I'll play that again for you. So starting on C, A, F sharp, E flat, C. I need to practice that one in the E flat, don't I? So what I was doing there is just taking that digital pattern. There is a lesson on this on the Cambridge Saxophone website, and I say it is in the ebook. It's a really good exercise to practice. The final thing we're going to do on this practice session is some transcription. We're going to go to the piece of music that Bramford got me to transcribe in my very first lesson with him back in 2005, and that is Back to the Land by Lester Young. So what I've done, on the website again, it's all there on the Cambridge Saxophone website. It's all clipped up, so and what I'm going to play for you now is a clip. Hopefully it won't screw my copyright. It's the opening line. Now, if all you get today is this opening line, that's brilliant practice, okay? So this is the opening line of the melody of Back to the Land by Lester Young. Now when you're transcribing, the most important thing to do is to be able to sing it first. So you've got to listen to it a few times. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. So the first question I'm going to be asking myself is, where is that first note? La la. It's a low D. And then it goes up. La da 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 da. Repetition here is key, going over and over and over it again. Now the software I'm using there is Transcribe, but you could use the Amazing Slowdown or the AnyTune Pro app. There you go. I'm trying to link to it. I can't remember what it is because obviously I do the links later. But that's clip 1. I'm going to go to clip 2. It's really important to sing it first. La da 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 da. Now, one of the things you can pick up from Transcription there is how it is a D, middle D in the saxophone, but he's not playing it traditional fingering 3+3 down on the octave key. He's using the top D fingering, but blowing it a bit flat as well. Okay, so what I eventually want to do is to be able to play the whole thing of Lester Young. So I'm skipping over a little bit because I'm not sure how far you guys have got with this, so maybe you go, but giving you a little bit of an idea of what should happen at the end. Okay, that's all we need to do for today. So we started off with Pivot Long Tones 1 from the Make Your Sax Sing ebook. That's to try and get our head in space, trying to move everything else, forget everything else, get into the practice zone. Then we look to the harmonic minor scales, do my scale primer on them, moving around. There's loads more you can do on that. Then we look to the dominant bebop scale, moving that dominant bebop around the circle. And then we looked at some digital patterns, taking a little digital pattern around the circle of fifths, and then into tritones, and then into minor thirds. And finally we finished off with some transcription. All really, really, really good things. Notice we haven't read a dot today, and that's quite important. Remember, I've said before, if you go and check out one of my free lessons on Cambridge saxophone, trying to see music through your eyes is like trying to hear a painting. So try as much as you can. Yes, reading music is important, like reading a language, but actually it only comes alive when we hear it. Music has to be heard, and try as much as you can to spend at least as much time using these in your practice as you do using these. Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure you click a like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on my live practice along with Dan videos. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.